An unprecedented event had shaken the medical community. A patient, bedridden for 4 years, had awakened from what doctors called an eternal slumber. Astonishingly, all her tests returned normal, and she was not only fully healthy, but also able to walk, as if the 4 years of immobility had never occurred. The patient's guardian, however, was not interested in medical marvels. He was demanding her immediate release. The doctors, bewildered by the inexplicable recovery, tried to reason with the guardian, a man they sensed was no ordinary person. Their concerns were brushed aside with a simple statement: a hospital shouldn't keep a perfectly healthy patient from going home. The mention of Sung Jinwoo, Korea's newest S-rank hunter, and the patient's guardian, finally convinced the doctors to discharge the patient. Jinwoo's mom looked at her daughter. "Jaina, look how much you've grown." Jinwoo watched them, a bittersweet mix of relief and apprehension washing over him. All the sacrifices, the relentless battles in the dungeons, it had all been for this moment. He felt the weight of the past and the hope of the future pressing down on him. "All of my hard work is paid off. I feel like I'm being rewarded right now for everything that I've been through. But as a hunter, I'm nervous that I've crossed a bridge of no return." Stepping out into the bustling city, Jinwoo realized he hadn't checked his phone since his harrowing escape from the demon's castle. A flurry of missed calls and urgent news reports about a beast sighted flying over Seoul filled his screen. He dismissed them, assuming any real emergency would warrant a direct call. And as if on cue, his phone rang. Chairman Go Gunhee's name flashed across the screen. "Mr. Go, did something happen?" Jinwoo asked, suspecting it concerned the recent news of Kaisel. "I'm sure you've already heard by now," the chairman began. Jinwoo, slightly embarrassed, apologized for his lack of awareness and promised to be more careful. The chairman, however, was not referring to Kaisel. The real reason for his call was far more urgent. "It seems as though you really haven't heard anything," Chairman Go stated, his voice grave. "Would it be all right if I told you in person? I'll stop by today." Jinwoo, ever proactive, insisted on coming to him instead. Cut to Chairman Go's office, he explains. "We'll be going to Jeju Island to exterminate those damn ants." Jinwoo's expression becomes serious. The chairman adds, "The operation will launch in 4 days." He leans forward, his expression grave. "But to pull it off, we need your help, Mr. Sung." He continues, emphasizing the significance of their mission. All of South Korea has longed for the reclamation of Jeju Island. With a determined look, he implores Jinwoo, "Please fight with us." Jinwoo thinks to himself, "Under normal circumstances, I'd jump at the opportunity to go somewhere with high-ranking beasts." He trails off, a concerned look clouding his features as he remembers his mom, still recovering. "That I can level up, but..." He looks away, the image of his mom filling his thoughts. Suddenly, Jinwoo's head snaps up, his eyes widening in surprise. "Mana waves?" he asks, sensing a powerful surge of energy. Chairman Go seems unfazed. "Is something wrong?" He casually dismisses the disturbance. Nothing serious. It just seems like there are hunters fighting somewhere nearby." He chuckles, a knowing glint in his eyes. "Ha ha ha, as expected. Your senses are sharp. I'm impressed you felt that from such a distance away." Jinwoo, his brow furrowed, processes this information. The chairman explains, "The S-rank hunters are probably warming up in the gym right now. Perhaps that's what you felt." Jinwoo's gaze sharpens. "S-rank hunters?" Chairman Go confirms, "Yes, they're warming up because there are only 4 days left until the Jeju Island Raid." He adds a crucial detail. The Japanese S-rank hunters, including Go Ruji, are all here as well. Jinwoo's expression hardens at the mention of Go Ruji. "Go Ruji? Are you talking about?" The chairman nods. "Yes, the Go Ruji, the greatest hunter in Japan, and a name everyone has probably heard of at least once in their lives, even if they're not a hunter." He gestures towards a large, futuristic-looking building outside. "Would you like to come with me to the gym?" The scene changes to the gym, where a fierce sparring match is taking place. A muscular man with light-colored hair and glowing red eyes roars, as he throws a punch at another hunter. The impact of the blow is visible as the recipient is sent reeling. The attacking hunter is Baek Yunho, and he delivers a swift kick. He continues his relentless assault, sending his opponent spinning. "Coach Baek," the other hunter shouts. "A young guy like you should be stronger than this." The hunter with the afro reveals himself to be Ma Dongwook. He retorts, "I am no coach, Coach Ma," and retaliates with a powerful blow, creating a visible shockwave. Back in the observation area, Chairman Go observes the sparring match with Jinwoo, commenting, "This many S-rank hunters gathered in one place? Not something you see every day." He explains the source of the mana Jinwoo felt earlier. "The mana waves you felt earlier probably came from them." He points out Baek Yunho in the ring. Looks like Mr. Baek is struggling a bit. Choi Jong-in, in a light-colored suit and glasses, approaches them. He greets Jinwoo. "It's been a while, Mr. Sung." He gestures towards the sparring hunters. "That person in the uniform over there is Ma Dongwook of the Fame Guild." Chairman asks him, "You said that Mr. Baek isn't going all out, but why is he holding back against someone as strong as Mr. Ma?" Choi Jong-in responds, "He has an audience watching him, so fighting at maximum capacity would put him in an awkward position, since Mr. Baek transforms into a monster when he gets serious." Jinwoo listens intently, a thoughtful expression on his face. So the rumors were true. He has the ability to transform. Choi Jong-in gestures towards another group of individuals observing the fight. And those people gathered over there are the Japanese S-rank hunters. Aizawa Ippei, a man with short, dark hair and a stern expression. Ishida Mari, a woman with distinctive, short red hair and a serious gaze. Tanaka Kenzo, a heavily muscled man full of scars and a confident smirk. Hoshino Minoru, a younger man with bright orange hair. Finally, Kumamoto Atsushi, a long-haired man with his face hidden behind a medical mask. Jinwoo, observing one of them, thinks to himself, "Is that Go Ruji, the S-rank hunter from Japan?" A woman with orange hair and a curious expression asks, "Huh? Who's that guy over there?" The man answers, "Ah, he's Sung Jinwoo, a hunter who recently became an S-rank." Go Ruji, also showing interest in our protagonist, asks, "Is he an assassin-type hunter?" But even if he were, his presence cannot easily be hidden. He must be quite an exceptional assassin. A man in a sharp suit beside him, correcting him, says, "Pardon? He's a mage-type hunter, sir." Go Ruji, surprised, states that it's impossible. The man insists. It's been officially confirmed. The scene shifts to another group of hunters. "Look who's here," Lim Taegyu says, his tone laced with disdain. "Isn't that Sung Jinwoo, the guy who ruined Minsung's debut?" Another S-hunter, Cha Hae-in, recognizes Jinwoo's presence. "Sung Jinwoo," she murmurs. "I knew it. He's the reason the air felt different." Ishida, turning to Kei, remarks, "Kei, that hunter over there is South Korea's 10th S-rank hunter." Kei waves dismissively. "Don't talk to me, Ishida. I feel like throwing up because of all the S-ranks gathered here." He comments, "I see there's a South Korean hunter with a nose as sensitive as mine." He observes Cha Hae-in, thinking, "She's only using a handkerchief, though she must be a few tiers below me." He contemplates approaching her. If I try and strike up a conversation, would she think I'm hitting on her? If only I had learned some Korean beforehand. Go Ruji watches the ongoing spar, unimpressed. His interpreter remarks, "These hunters are considered South Korea's strongest? They're mediocre at best." The interpreter adds nervously, "Mr. Goto, I've been watching your raids from the sidelines for quite some time now. Perhaps this is the reason why I'm no longer impressed by S-ranks." Goto disagrees. "I can't say I agree with you," he says, looking across the gym. "There seems to be one notable hunter over there. Cha Hae-in, was it?" He adds, "Cha Hae-in and Go Gun-hee. These two would give our best hunters a run for their money." A hunter, annoyed, turns to the interpreter. "Oi, misinterpreter, what did you say just now? You think the South Korean hunters are all mediocre? Did you think I wouldn't understand, 'cause you were speaking in Japanese? I'll have you know that I learned Japanese in high school as my second language." The interpreter, taken aback, asks, "And you are?" Just then, a guild member exclaims, "This man right here is the guild master of the Knights Guild, Mr. Park Jong-soo." The interpreter looks at Park Jong-soo. "Park Jong-soo, I've never heard of you before." The guild member quickly defends his guild master. "Well, Mr. Park is an A rank, not an S rank, so maybe that's why you haven't heard of him." He adds proudly, "Our guild is one of the 5 major guilds in South Korea, though. And out of all the guilds, we've recruited the largest number of A-rank hunters." Park Jong-soo calmly intervenes. "Yuntae, that's enough showing off." Hanakawa asks Park Jong-soo, "Huh? Will you be joining the raid in Jeju as well?" "I thought only S-rank hunters were allowed to participate." The guild member, enraged, explains, "Mr. Park is on the defense team. He's going to be in charge of blocking off the island." Hanakawa nods. That's good to hear. Can't assign an important task to an A rank." making him even more angry. Goto, noticing the situation, intervenes. Hanakawa, if you're being discourteous right now, please stop. Park Jong-soo ignores him, turning back to his guild member dismissively. Knock it off, will ya? She's just an interpreter tagging along. What would she know? Provoked, Hanakawa replies. Would you like to try me? She removes her jacket. My name is Hanakawa, and I'm an A-rank hunter from Japan. Don't tell me you can't take on a mere interpreter that's simply tagging along. Park Jong-soo, attempting to defuse the situation. For Christ's sake. Look, misinterpreter. Enough with the dissing. Hanakawa replies. Are you a non-combatant hunter? Jinwoo remarks a fight between a Japanese A-rank hunter and a South Korean A-rank hunter. Jong-in adds, looks like things are about to get interesting. Park Jong-soo agrees on the duel, but let's lay down some rules. The rules are simple. The first person to grab the opponent's wrist wins. Better than just aimlessly duking it out, don't you think? He adjusts his sleeve, adding, the one who gets their wrist caught loses. Hanakawa assesses Park Jong-soo's stance, thinking, even if I go in throwing punches at him, the fight will be over if he grabs me. By the way, looks like I won't be able to attack right away. I guess we'll have to play mind games with each other. She gets ready. She looks at Park Jong-soo and remarks, you call that a ready stance? Jong-soo replies confidently, don't you worry, I'm not going to take this hand out unless it's to grab your wrist. Hanakawa thinks to herself, so he's confident in his speed. All right, let's begin. Hanakawa makes her move, her arm shooting out towards Park Jong-soo's wrist. Park Jong-soo easily dodges, moving with surprising agility. Hanakawa thinks, I'm going to wipe that pretentious look off his face. She tries again, but Park Jong-soo sidesteps her once more, giving her a light shove that sends her stumbling back. He smirks. Oh, for the record, I didn't hit ya. It was just a lil shove. You know what I'm saying, right? Hanakawa, regaining her balance, retorts. Sorry, but I'm having a hard time understanding your accent. Seeing an opportunity, she thinks, now's my chance, and reaches for his wrist. Park Jong-soo, however, is too quick. He grabs her wrist, ending the brief spar. Too slow, misinterpreter. He holds her wrist firmly. What happened just now? He mocks her. You're the type of hunter that always hides behind them tanks, eh? Hanakawa's hand trembles slightly in his grip. Releasing her wrist, he adds, it also seems like you've got no one-on-one combat experience. Park Jong-soo continues, here in South Korea, we run into troublemakers every now and then, which means we sometimes have to fight our own kind. When worst comes to worst, we even gotta kill him sometimes. He swiftly grabs Hanakawa's wrist again, demonstrating his point. Unlike magic beasts, the way a human moves ain't so simple, so you're dead meat if you can't predict your opponent's next move. If I were wielding a sword, I would have sliced your throat, not your wrist. He releases her with a humph. Goto Ruji walks over to Park Jong-soo. Thank you, he says, his tone slightly more respectful. What an exciting match that was. He turns to Hanakawa. Hanakawa, would you please relay my words to everyone here? Hanakawa nods. Ah, of course. In the interest of building trust between our two countries, I have a proposal for you. Goto Ruji addresses the gathered hunters. What do you say we have our S-rank hunters spar one another according to the rules used just now? Chairman Go comments. I guess he wants to see how strong we all are. Chairman Go replies, sounds good. However, let's exclude the mage type and non-combatant hunters, since it'd be difficult to tell who won. Baek Yun-ho adds, let's also add a few more rules while we're at it. You win if you touch your opponent's wrist or back, or if you knock them down. Let's also have multiple hunters go against each other, instead of having one-on-one matches. So that means you can't pick and choose your opponent. How does that sound? Goto agrees. They announce the Korean team. Korea will send out Baek Yun-ho, Ma Dong-wook, Cha Hae-in, and Lim Tae-gyu. The 4 Korean hunters stand together. Goto Ruji announces the Japanese team. Japan will send out Tanaka Kenzo, Hoshino Minoru, Kumamoto Atsushi, and Tawada Kane. The 4 Japanese hunters stand ready. Observing the Japanese hunters, Jinwoo notes, Goto Ruji isn't participating. Maybe all he wants is to see how strong we are. He adds, still, a match between S-rank hunters is hard to come by. I'm glad I came. Tanaka assesses his potential opponents. Ma Dong-wook and Baek Yun-ho. I've already got a good read on these 2 guys from the fight they had earlier. He adds a thought about Baek Yun-ho, but I get the feeling that Baek Yun-ho is hiding something up his sleeve. Kane considers the match format. A 4-on-4 match means that my opponent is probably that girl, right? Lim Taegyu, watching from the sidelines, hopes for an easy fight. I hope they go easy on us. Ma Dongwook steps forward, initiating the match. Well, then, let's get started. He activates his skill, his body growing larger and more muscular. Tanaka, impressed, grins. Ma Dongwook has the ability to grow bigger. Looks like he prefers a battle of strength. He leaps toward the enlarged, eager for the confrontation. Nice. Very nice. I like that you keep it simple. He clashes with Ma Dongwook, the impact shaking the gym. Let's see who's stronger. Meanwhile, Lim Taegyu assesses Hoshino Minoru. He's fast. Is speed his strong suit? If so, close quarters combat will put me at a disadvantage. He quickly creates distance between them. Well, creating distance is my specialty, and so is attacking from a distance. He fires a magic arrow at Hoshino. Hoshino, as he dodges the attack, notes, "Humph, is he a ranger?" He understands the Japanese hunter's strategy. I see, so you don't want this to be a one-on-one battle, huh? Tanaka notes that their only option is to have Hoshino take care of that guy as quickly as possible. Chairman Go observes the destruction caused by the powerful hunters. The interior of this facility was fortified using essence stones of the highest quality. Average hunters wouldn't be able to make so much as a dent on the walls, but the place has been completely wrecked in a matter of seconds. He worries about the Korean team. It's quite regrettable that we're sending only our young hunters into the battlefield. Our opponents are some of the most powerful S-ranks in the world. We have to brace ourselves and be prepared to not just grab their wrists, but also break them if we need to. Kumamoto Atsushi observes Baek Yunho thinking, he's just wasting his energy. I'm not going to go for his wrists or back. I won't follow his silly rules. He prepares to attack. The only rule I live by is the survival of the fittest. He lunges at Baek Yunho, intent on a decisive blow, but hesitates at the last moment. He thinks to himself, he had the intent to kill just now. But why did I hesitate? Could he be scared? He retracts his attack, landing back on the ground, frustrated. Damn, I hesitated again. He places a hand over his heart, a troubled expression on his face. He questions his suitability for being a hunter. Maybe I'm really not cut out to be a hunter. Baek Yunho assesses Kumamoto Atsushi. His name was Kumamoto, right? I can't tell if he's got great judgment, or if he's just a coward. He doesn't seem aggressive, though. He considers Goto Ruji's motives. Perhaps I was mistaken back then. Maybe Goto wanted us to go against each other, so that he could test that guy's strength. Baek Yunho then realizes Kumamoto is using him as a test subject. Maybe he wanted to see if he was prepared to fight the ants. He's using me for his little test, huh? Baek Yunho decides to show Kumamoto his true power. As he powers up, Kumamoto notices the change. The look in his eyes has changed. He feels a surge of fear. I'm so scared. I want to get out of here. Baek Yunho leaps towards Kumamoto, commenting, "You're a pathetic coward. What a pity. You're probably one of the top S-ranks out there." Park Jong-soo, observing from the side, comments, "Well, damn. There's nothing but monsters here. My match earlier was nothing but child's play compared to this." The guild member tries to reassure him. "Nonsense, Mr. Park. You were cool as heck." Meanwhile, Ma Dongwook is slammed into the ground by Tanaka Kenzo. Tanaka grins. "Looks like I'm the stronger of the two of us." Ma Dongwook, lying on the ground, admits, "Haha, I can't believe I got drilled into the ground. This is a first for me." Hoshino slams Lim Taegyu into the wall, holding his wrists, grins. "Seems like I'm the winner, no?" Baek Yunho, powering up further, replies, "So am I next. Seems like you all think I'm an easier target than Cha Hae-in. Well, you've underestimated me." Tawada Kane, struggling against Cha Hae-in, notes, "Ugh, I thought she was just fast, but I was wrong. I can't read the pattern of her movements." Cha Hae-in's nickname is the Dancer. She was given this name because of the way she'd swiftly kill one beast after the other, as if she were dancing. But she banned the use of the name because she found it embarrassing, so not many people call her by that nickname. Cha Hae-in swiftly defeats Tawada Kane. Touch. She thinks, I have to hurry up and help Baek Yunho. Kumamoto decides to focus on Cha Hae-in. Those two over there should be able to handle that guy. I should just focus on dealing with this woman. Cha Hae-in, however, effortlessly dodges his attacks and lands a barrage of punches. Onlookers are astonished by her speed. What was that? How many times did she punch him just now? 10, no, maybe 14 times. I can't believe she hit him so many times in the blink of an eye. No one could have blocked an attack like that. Cha Hae-in apologizes. Oops, it was an instinctive response. I didn't mean to beat him up. That sends Kumamoto into a rage. His mask becomes stained with blood as his rage consumes him. The onlookers, observing the fight, comment. Once that guy gets angry, he turns into a completely different person. He doesn't just turn into a different person, he loses all sense of rational thinking. He can't remember anything after he's done fighting. A guy like that's not fit to be in a strike squad. You never know when he'll start acting out on his own or attack his fellow teammates. Still, he's capable of clearing a B-rank gate all by himself. Though if he can't work with a team to clear an A-rank gate, then what's the point of him being an S-rank hunter? Goto also joins in. If he ever ends up attacking one of the South Korean hunters, you must stop him immediately. But leave him be for now. This is just a test. Hankawa, however, is concerned about the escalating situation. Now's probably the best time to intervene though, isn't it? We can't afford to compensate for the damages he's causing. Just as Kumamoto is about to attack Cha Hae-in, Papa Jinwoo intervenes, grabbing Kumamoto's arm mid-swing. Cha Hae-in thinks, he's fast. Jinwoo addresses the Japanese hunters. Excuse me for intervening, but I think you guys are getting too carried away. This is just a sparring session. Kumamoto, enraged, yells, "You bastard!" and tries to attack Jinwoo. Jinwoo easily subdues him. Goto watches Jinwoo's movements with surprise. His movements just now, he asks Hanakawa. Is that hunter over there really a mage-type hunter? Hanakawa confirms. Yes, according to the official statement that was released, at least. Goto decides to investigate further. I guess the quickest way to find out is to check for myself. Baek Yunho, having been caught by Tanaka Kenzo, comments, the Japanese hunters are overwhelmingly stronger than us. I wouldn't have been able to do anything even if I had transformed. Jinwoo comments, Ms. Cha, why don't we call this a loss for the South Korean team? Hankawa approaches Jinwoo. Sir, Mr. Goto would like to have a word with you. Goto Ruji approaches Jinwoo, confirming his name. Your name is Sung Jinwoo, correct? He looks directly at Jinwoo, a challenging glint in his eyes. I'd like to have a one-on-one fight with you. What do you say? Jinwoo barely needed the translator. Goto Ruji's stance said it all. He wanted a fight. No, scratch that. He needed a fight. The guy was practically vibrating with anticipation, an aura of barely restrained aggression clinging to him. Is he trying to gauge my strength? Jinwoo wondered. Or does he just want to flex? Either way, this is a perfect chance to see how far I've come since the demon's castle. His lips curled into a small smile. Goto Ruji, catching that smirk, almost twitched. He's smiling? In my presence? That was new. Hanakawa hesitated before relaying Jinwoo's response. Mr. Goto, he agrees to the fight. But, under one condition. Goto raised an eyebrow. A condition? Hanakawa gulped. He wants you to go all out. For a moment, silence. Then, the Japanese hunter let out a slow, amused chuckle. Is this kid serious? The other hunters exchanged looks, whispers breaking out. What the hell is happening? But Goto, his grin widening, waved over a nearby hunter. Shimizu, our S-rank healer, will patch us up afterward. Not that I'll be needing it, he said, eyes flicking toward Jinwoo. But you might want to get familiar with him. The Korean hunters weren't sure if this was bravery or insanity. Is that the 10th S-rank hunter everyone's been hyping up? One muttered. He's up against Goto Ruji. Will he even stand a chance? Cha Hae-in, watching from the side, was unfazed. He's got guts. Then, after a beat, she reconsidered. No, this is the guy who soloed an A-rank dungeon boss and took out over 100 high orcs. This is just another Tuesday for him. Baek Yunho, standing next to her, turned slightly. You alright being around all these hunters today? She shrugged, the ghost of a smirk on her lips. Can't keep holding my nose forever. Especially once we get to Jeju Island. Then, as if something clicked, she turned back to him. Wait, you know Jinwoo, right? Shouldn't you stop him from doing something reckless? Baek Yunho chuckled. Normally, yeah. But, his eyes glinted with excitement. Same reason you're watching. You want to see this fight, don't you? Cha didn't respond immediately. She didn't have to. Instead, she just watched. Across the battlefield, Jinwoo and Goto faced each other, the tension palpable. Alright, Jinwoo thought, flexing his fingers. Let's get this started. Before he even finished the thought, Goto was already on him. Jinwoo, completely unfazed, sidestepped the attack like he was dodging a slow-moving toddler. Goto's eyes narrowed. I missed. Jinwoo blinked. Huh, didn't expect him to launch at me that fast. The Japanese hunter's mind raced. A mage type? No chance. His footwork's too clean, his dodges too precise. He might be fooling others, but not me. His fingers twitched as his aura flared. I'll expose him for what he really is. Jinwoo, meanwhile, casually kept dodging like he had all the time in the world. Goto's attacks were fast, no doubt about that, but they weren't landing. He smiled again. Goto's left eye twitched. He's smiling? Again. The spectators could barely keep up. Should we stop this? One whispered. Another shook his head. Look at Goto. He's serious. Choi Jong-in exhaled, analyzing the battle with a keen eye. Just dodging Goto's attacks is impressive enough. Cha Hae-in corrected him instantly. He's not just dodging. He's forcing Goto to keep attacking. At that moment, Jong-in returned from a much-needed smoke break, took one look at the battlefield and sighed. Man, I always miss the fun stuff. Back in the ring, Goto launched another brutal strike. Jinwoo dodged again. Goto's brows furrowed. Luck. No, this isn't luck. His fists clenched. Fine. If I can't hit him normally, I'll just have to go all out. That's when the killing intent seeped in. Jinwoo barely had time to register the system's alert. Caution. There is an enemy with murderous intent nearby. Murderous intent, he muttered. Before he could fully process it, Goto's next strike almost took his eye out. That was his breaking point. Jinwoo's hand shot out, catching Goto's wrist mid-swing. For the first time, Goto froze. If I'd been a second late, Jinwoo said casually, I'd have lost an eye. Goto's mind screamed. How is he this strong? But something else unsettled him even more. He could have grabbed my wrist, but he didn't. He grabbed my hand instead. A subtle smirk twitched on Jinwoo's lips. Are you playing around with me? Goto whispered. Jinwoo tilted his head. No idea what you just said. His grin widened. But I'm guessing you don't want things to end here, right? That was all Goto needed to hear. Dark energy roared around him. Jinwoo, not one to back down, let his own mana flare. The air thickened. The ground cracked beneath them. They were seconds away from obliterating each other. That's when the interference came. Baek Yunho and Cha Hae-in lunged, grabbing onto Jinwoo. At the same time, Minoru restrained Goto, while Kei erected a towering ice barrier between them. Baek Yunho's voice rang through the battlefield. That's enough. This guy is leading Japan's strike team in a few days. If something happens to him now, nobody wants to deal with the fallout. Hanakawa, looking like he'd just aged 5 years, nodded frantically. Why yeah, let's call it a day. Jinwoo pulled back, dusting off his sleeve. Humph. As he walked away, Baek Yunho hesitated. Did I overstep? Before Jinwoo could answer, Ma Dongwook barreled toward him, laughing. Damn, you took on Goto Ruji and walked away with just a scratch. Impressive. He clapped Jinwoo's shoulder, grin wide. Hey, you've got a great build. My guild's packed with mages, but we desperately need some good fighters. Ever thought about joining us? Jong-in scoffed. Coach Ma, Mr. Sung is a mage type. Ma Dongwook nearly choked. What? Jinwoo sighed. I got a little too carried away. He reflected, gaze sharpening. I've now gotten a feel for the strongest players here. Go Gunhee, Choi Jong-in, Cha Hae-in, Baek Yunho, and Goto Ruji. His smirk returned. And not a single one of them sensed my soldiers hiding in my shadow. Not even Goto. Turning, he addressed Chairman Go. You asked if I'd participate in the Jeju Island Raid, right? Chairman Go's breath hitched. Across the battlefield, Goto Ruji stood alone, sweat dripping, eyes wide. He clenched his fists, trying to steady his breath. What the hell is he? Baek Yunho sat at his desk, deep in thought. So it's actually possible? A hunter who could keep getting stronger? This wasn't just a gimmick. It was real. He briefly considered how much someone like Jinwoo would be worth, but that thought died quickly. Trying to recruit him had been a complete waste of time. But there were other ways to maintain a good relationship with a talented hunter. Time for Plan B. Checking his phone, he scrolled through the list of hunters participating in the upcoming raid. Then his expression shifted. Wait, he's not on the list? Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, Goto Ruji was already on the phone. Mr. Sugimoto. Turns out there's a pretty skilled hunter here in South Korea. Sugimoto Reiji, the vice guild master of the Blade Guild, barely reacted. Haha, but surely not as strong as you, Mr. Goto. Goto's face twitched slightly. Well, I'm not so sure about that. Sugimoto's curiosity was piqued. What's his name? Goto exhaled. Sung Jinwoo. He underwent a second awakening and was recently evaluated as an S rank. Sugimoto sounded unimpressed. Huh, that's odd. I don't see his name on the list. He continued. Pardon me. I didn't explain. South Korea just sent over their confirmed raid team. Choi Jong-in, Ma Dongwook, Baek Yunho, Cha Hae-in, Lim Tae-gyu, and Min Byung-gu. These 6 make up the team heading to Jeju Island in 4 days. Goto stared blankly for a moment. That's not possible. Chairman Go would have to be clinically insane to leave out a hunter like Jinwoo. No way, he muttered. Sugimoto, ever the professional, reassured him. There will be 16 S-rank hunters participating in this raid. Everything will be fine. Goto hesitated before letting out a breath. All right, I guess I got worried for nothing. I'll call you again once the raid begins. But even as he hung up, doubt lingered. Far from all the political maneuvering, deep within the dark, twisted nest of Jeju Island, the Ant Queen stirred. Her voice echoed through the caverns, her monstrous form looming over countless eggs. We must abandon this island. There is no food left. Our children are eating their own. We cannot let this continue. Her attention shifted toward one egg, larger and brighter than the rest. A slow, eerie hum filled the chamber. We need a stronger soldier, an all-powerful soldier to lead the kingdom. For the sake of our survival, make our enemies tremble. The glow from the egg pulsed. Consume all there is to consume, and become stronger, my child. Jinwoo arrived home, only to find the place looking like it had survived a natural disaster. Looks like someone didn't clean while I was away. His mom appeared in the doorway. It's been 4 years since I last did housework, she mused. How about we clean together? Jinwoo nodded. As they worked, his mom sighed. This house is so run down. There's grime in places I didn't even know existed. Jinwoo glanced around. Well, we've been living here since we were kids. Then, a question hung in the air, heavy with unspoken emotions. Jinwoo, did you receive any news about your father while I was asleep? He hesitated, then simply answered. No. Looking away, his mind wandered. If I told her I became a hunter like Dad, what would she say? His mother still clung to hope. That was why they were still in this apartment, paying rent month after month, despite the fact that he had enough money to buy an entire block. She wasn't waiting for a new home. She was waiting for a lost husband. This family, no, my mother needs me. His thoughts drifted to the impending raid. The Jeju Island Raid is. Meanwhile, the news reported an unsettling discovery. The ants are evolving at an alarming rate. Here's an image from the first and second Search and Destroy missions. Originally, they crawled on all fours, giant but otherwise typical ants. Then, during the third mission, they began standing upright, their bodies adapting for more nimble movement. And now, in the most recent footage, they have wings. One of the panelists nearly choked. You're telling me those things can fly? The reporter nodded. That's the main reason South Korea and Japan agreed to form a joint team. Even experienced hunters wouldn't want to face something like this alone. Another guest added, true. But there's even a retired hunter stepping up to join the raid. As Jinwoo listened, online comments flooded the screen. Why isn't Sung Jinwoo on the list? Once an E rank, always an E rank. He probably pissed his pants and ran away, lol. Even Min Byung-gu came out of retirement for this, but Sung Jinwoo just pieced out? So cringe. Jinwoo barely reacted. Hate comments were whatever. But he was worried about Jaina. He receives a call. Sir, it's me, Jinho. Jinwoo greeted him. Hey, Jinho. Still at the motel? No, sir. I found a new apartment. My mom helped me out. Then excitedly, I also found us an office. Do you have time to check it out? Jinwoo raised an eyebrow. Office? Yeah, you need one if you want to start a guild. They arrived at the building. Jinwoo glanced at it, unimpressed. Isn't this too big for just the two of us? Jinho beamed. What are you talking about? You need at least 3 hunters to form a guild master, a vice guild master, and at least 1 employee. Jinwoo sighed. So I need to recruit 1 more person. He considered his options. I'll just pick someone I know. Jinho suddenly remembered something. Oh yeah, someone was looking for you, sir. A foreigner. He handed Jinwoo a slip of paper. They said they'd be in Korea until the 17th of July. A strange sense of unease settled over him. What's wrong, sir? Jinho asked. I need to go home. With that, He vanished using shadow exchange, leaving Jinho standing there, confused. In a dark alley, a thug held a knife to a girl's neck, smirking. "If you scream, you die." His voice dripped with amusement. "You know, a few people were murdered here. That's why I love this alley." A voice from behind him interrupted his fun. "I know, right?" Jinwoo's tone was light, almost conversational. "I love this neighborhood, too." The thug barely had time to register his doom. Jinwoo loomed over him. "Out of curiosity, why are you doing this?" The thug scoffed. "You here to give me a lecture?" He twirled his knife, sneering. "I don't need a reason. It's just fun. When I see someone weaker than me, I just get the urge to." He stopped. Something felt wrong. Jinwoo smiled, a dark glint in his eyes. "I can relate." In the next instant, the thug's leg was slashed. Jinwoo turned to the girl. "You should probably head home before it gets any darker." She ran without hesitation. Turning back, Jinwoo's voice dropped to something cold. "Turn yourself in before midnight, if you want to live." Then, to the shadow soldier lurking on the man, if he doesn't kill him. As he walked away, he added, "I would like for you to live, but my high orc doesn't have much patience." His thoughts shifted. Tomorrow's the day. The Jeju Island Raid begins. The next day, a helicopter carrying hunters flies towards Jeju Island. Goto, looking at his phone, glanced at his hand, where faint scars remained from Jinwoo's grip. At that moment, I think I felt death. He inhaled deeply. What's wrong with me? I've become overly sensitive. Bro's survival instincts are solid. What do you guys think? By the way, I placed a shadow on you. You have 5 seconds to subscribe before he loses his patience. The naval fleet sliced through the waves from all directions, China, Taiwan, and finally, Jeju Island coast. It was a full-scale military show of force. 2 Sejong the Great-class destroyers, 2 KDDX-class destroyers, 4 Chungnyung-e Sunsin-class destroyers, 1 Kong Gamcheon-class destroyer, and 12 frigates had all been deployed to the northern coast of Jeju. Because nothing says we don't trust this mission, quite like bringing enough firepower to sink a continent. On the deck of one of the ships, Park Jong-soo addressed his guild members. "Time to brace yourselves. The ants might have caught on by now. They could start flying at us any moment." Jung Yoon-tae, one of the Knight's guild members, looked nervous. "Sir, you think our plan's gonna work on those things?" Park Jong-soo shrugged. "Won't know till we try. But that's why we're here, to make sure none of those flying freaks make it to the mainland. We're the defense team." Yoon-tae clenched his fist, eyes burning with newfound determination. "I knew I could count on you, sir. I, Jung Yoon-tae, will follow you to the ends of the earth." Ma Dongwook smirked. "Then make sure you watch our backs." The vice guild master, however, waved a dismissive hand. "There's nothing to watch. They call us the defense team, but let's be real, we're just the standby team. We're just here in case things go south." Ma Dongwook gave her a look. "All our guild members are on deck, so as vice guild master, why don't you run through some tactical drills with them?" She scoffed. "And how would I do that? Vice guild master is just a title, you know." Ma Dongwook chuckled. "Our guild grew because of your great management. You not only came up with our symbol, but you also expanded our activities. I suck at managing stuff, so I'm grateful." She exhaled. "I don't feel great about sending you out there, but make sure you come back in one piece." Ma Dongwook gave her a reassuring nod before heading toward the battlefield. Meanwhile, at a separate location, a guild master was losing his mind on the phone. "What? You sent Minsung there? The ants could show up any second. Get him to the back, as far back as possible." A pause. "What do you mean you can't recall the troops?" "Fine. Tell him to find cover and stay hidden." Meanwhile, the Hunters Association had deployed multiple guilds to the southern side of the island, positioning them strategically. Lee Minsung of the Fiend Guild stood amongst the hunters, looking far too pleased with himself. "Nice. This'll get me some brownie points." Sun Kahun of the Hunters Guild, standing next to him, said nothing. His face was all business. The teams were set up to ensure no ants made it to the mainland, even if the mission succeeded. Because let's face it, hoping the mission would succeed was already pushing it. Across the island, strike squads spread out, each led by a B rank with 3 C ranks and over 10 D and E rank hunters. Among them, Lee Juhee of the White Tiger Guild led her team. Song Chiyol and several other hunters stood ready. Even some retired hunters had joined the battle, along with individuals who had awakened but never officially became hunters. Out of 50,000 awakened beings in South Korea, 5,000 had stepped up. On a helicopter, a cameraman adjusted his gear. I'm a news agency cameraman specializing in hunter coverage. My job is to film hunters in action. He explained further. This mission is being broadcast live nationwide. There's a 10-minute delay, so the editing team will be filtering things out before it goes on air. Baek Yunho, sitting beside Ma Dongwook, frowned. A cameraman? On this mission? What was Mr. Go thinking? Ma Dongwook grinned. A successful hunter is one who has someone to protect. He glanced at the cameraman. Still, take care of yourself out there. The cameraman waved off the concern. Oh, don't worry. I may not look like much, but I'm actually an A-rank hunter. Yunho raised an eyebrow. There are plenty of awakened who choose normal jobs instead of raiding, the cameraman continued. I just happen to have two professions. I've even covered dungeon breaks before. His fingers trembled slightly around the camera. But not sure if those experiences will actually help this time. Ma Dongwook chuckled. No need to be nervous. The association must believe this raid has a real chance of succeeding if they let a cameraman tag along. The cameraman exhaled in relief. Thanks. Good to hear you say that. Ma Dongwook continued. This will be the first and last time civilians get to witness an S-rank raid. We've failed 3 times before in Jeju, so the whole country will be watching. Let's give them a clean victory. Baek Yunho, however, wasn't so optimistic. If we fail this time, South Korea could be wiped off the map. The world needs heroes right now. He turned to Min Byung-gu. Didn't expect to see you here. Min Byung-gu shrugged. No real reason. Just figured you would be the first to die without my healing, especially with the way you throw yourself at every beast you see. Yunho scoffed, offended. Pounce. Who me? Cha Haein glanced at Yunho. Did you happen to see Jinwoo before coming here? Yunho blinked. Why? She looked startled. No reason. The helicopters approached Jeju Island. Ma Dongwook peered out the window. Haha, looks like it's time to get to work. Min Byung-gu's fingers trembled slightly as he tightened his grip. Go-To Ruji stood overlooking the ruined city. So this used to be Jeju City, huh? Now it's a complete ghost town. His gaze swept over the scattered ant corpses. Cannibalized? He activated his comms. This is Alpha. Requesting roll call. The responses came in quick. Bravo, over. Charlie, over. Delta, over. Go-To took a deep breath. Everyone, open the floodgates. A wave of mana exploded outward, lighting up the island like a beacon. On the helicopter, the Korean hunters immediately felt it. Whoa, look at those mana waves. The Japanese just launched the operation. Then, the real nightmare began. From below, winged ants burst from the ground, swarming toward the helicopters. Choi Jong-in cracked his knuckles. I'll handle this. He raised his hand, unleashing Flame Spear. The burning projectiles incinerated multiple ants midair. Min Byung-gu watched. Impressive. Then, after a second, no, not really. He narrowed his eyes at the remaining ants, completely unfazed by the flames. I knew this would happen. His voice turned grim. This much firepower won't cut it. Choi Jong-in's eyes darkened. Fine. Brace yourselves for turbulence. He raised both hands, unleashing a true inferno. The sky erupted in flames. Ant corpses rained from above. Cha Haein, watching from the chopper, reassured Ma Dongwook he'll be fine. His fire magic is perfect for dealing with large groups. Choi Jong-in landed, surveying the damage. The corners of his lips curled upward. The last time I played with ants, I was a kid with a lighter. Back then, all I heard was snapping. His grin widened. Now, I hear fireworks. He motioned to the others. You guys can come down. Ma Dongwook turned to the assembled hunters. Unlike before, there's no escape route this time. If we don't kill the queen in an hour, we're trapped in those tunnels. If anyone's got last words, make 'em short. Baek Yunho gripped the edge of the helicopter. We've got this in the bag. Let's go. One by one, the hunters jumped.